Welcome to the Power of Oxygen First, where we scale your life first so your business can actually breathe. I'm your host, Dot Rock. Oxygen First means you protect your energy first. You build your life first. You take care of your nervous system first. Then you scale. Because success without oxygen, that's just burnout with better branding. Around here, we talk about real leadership, how to hire your peanut butter instead of just doing it all yourself, how to fire with grace when something's expired, no more breadcrumbs, how to grow or go, and how to receive support without apologizing for it. This isn't hustle culture. It's sustainable success. It's leadership with oxygen. So let's pause and take a deep breath. Let's build something that actually feels like home. Hello, my podcast friends. I am so excited to share this episode with you. Welcome back to the Power of Oxygen First, the podcast where we put on our oxygen mask first so that our life and our businesses can actually breathe. Today's episode is just really this amazing full circle moment for me. It kind of takes my breath away to think about it. Because you're going to listen to a conversation where I'm sitting down with someone who didn't actually teach me something, but instead she kind of walked beside me through one of my biggest transformations in life. She's my breathwork coach. She's my soul sister Scorpio, and she is a fellow baseball mom to a little boy the same age as Dominic. She is someone I have never actually hugged in real life, which is actually, I don't know, it feels a bit like a crime against humanity. So today I am joined by my dearest friend, my dearest breathwork coach, Ashlee Livingstone. She is a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator. And that's not who she was when I met her, you guys, in 2019. She has come a long way as well. She has transformed. I'll never forget the first time I told her how much I was loving breathwork. She kind of rolled her eyes. But today, she is the most magical breathwork facilitator I have ever worked with. And I have worked with quite a few. She helps people regulate their nervous system. She helps them access their subconscious. And by doing so, they can finally hear the truth that's been inside them all along. But before we dive in, I want to take you into a little moment that I had with Ashlee a couple of years ago. It's a real moment. I was sitting in a breathwork session with Ashlee. We were on Zoom. It was during spring training in Phoenix, spring break. And in that session, I saw my life. Because you see, Ashlee does hypnotherapy, hypno breathwork, right? It's hypno breathwork, I guess. But in that session, as she guided me as I was doing this breath work, breathing in and out, you guys, the halo active breath is what I was doing. I saw my life, not the one I was living, not at all the one I was living. I saw the one I knew was waiting for me. I saw myself on this rainbow, sliding down this expansive, free, abundant life. And in that moment, as I saw that, I absolutely knew with all of my soul something else. I knew my marriage was over, and I knew I was leaving it. And it's not because breathwork made it over. It's because I got quiet enough to hear what I already knew, what I was already so very afraid to face. And that moment seeing that beautiful rainbow, that life of expansion, the one that I'm living right now, that moment in breathwork changed everything for me. And Ashlee saw it happen. But that was the beginning of this new way of choosing myself, of choosing this safety, of choosing truth and choosing oxygen first. That's the oxygen first I needed at the time. So today's conversation is not about breathwork. It's actually about what happens when we finally get out of our heads and into our bodies, why our subconscious is running 95% of your life and my life, and how something as simple and as powerful as your breath can unlock everything you've been trying to force, everything you've been trying to not face. Now, don't make that something bad. Don't make that into something you're afraid of. I'm telling you, breath work, especially with Ashlee by my side, constantly changes my life on a very regular basis. In this conversation, we talk about motherhood, business, regulation, intuition, and yes, raising teenage boys who will absolutely humble us on a daily basis. And if you've ever felt like, I know there is more for me, but I can't quite access it, this episode is specifically for you. So let's dive in. Well, hello. Welcome, Ashlee, to the podcast. I know you've been on the podcast before, but boy, has my life changed since the last time you were on the podcast.
Just a little bit.
But you were side by side with me through the changes. I need to look up, I'll put it in the intro to this podcast when you were on the podcast because I think it
hmm
was right before my divorce. I
Yeah,
want to
because
say.
we met to talk baseball moms.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Or maybe it was in the middle of it, but it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. A lot has changed, and you worked side by side with me. So you are my personal breathwork coach. I'm also in your breathwork membership, and you're a fellow baseball mom with a little boy the same age as my son.
I know. It's wild. We're essentially like soul sisters
And
who've never actually met yet in
we
person.
have never actually met in person. Like I think like 2 years ago, I think you told me, "Well, I'm not that tall," and I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah,
And then it
I'm
really
itty.
dawned on me that we had never met in person.
Yeah,
I've never physically given you a hug, which is
I know.
bonkers to me. I'm a hugger.
I mean, I'm a selective hugger. I'll hug
I can
you.
see that in you, Scorpio girl. We're both
Yeah.
Scorpios, everyone, and we
hmm
share a lot of commonalities with that, except minus I'm a hugger. I
Yeah.
believe in hugging like you mean it or not hugging at all.
This is why I hug only certain people. Because I only can mean it with certain people. I can't fake hug. So I save my hugs for the people I mean it with.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I do as well. But I do notice if you're really, really in my inner circle, like, so if I were to meet you, I would hug you and I would hug your whole clan
Yeah.
because I have such deep love for you and anything that's really connected to you. So if I have
hmm
friends come over and they bring their family members that I've never met before, but I know about, they're getting hugs from me, right? Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
But strangers aren't getting hugs from me. In fact, nobody else is touching me.
Yeah, no. I used to work at a job where we had to like hug the donors, and it was so
Oh,
ick to, I know. It was so ick to
oh,
me.
forced
And
hugs.
yeah, I'm not good at that. I'm not good at
No.
that. I am for as regulated and as open and as like safe that I am also have very strong energetic boundaries. And so a lot of people are just like, yeah, no. I just
Well,
know.
that's also the Scorpio in us, right?
hmm
Where we just
Yeah.
have these somewhat strong energetic boundaries, I think, built in us from the second where we enter this world.
Yeah.
And it triggers a lot of other people, is what I have found.
hmm
But that's okay with me because I'm also a Scorpio
Yeah, I'm like,
still,
I don't
and I
care.
don't give a shit what people think.
Same, same. Yep.
Okay, so I want to just talk a little bit about your background and how you got into breathwork coaching. We met through a business program together through Heather Chauvin,
hmm
and she was both of our coaches. I think back in I think I started with her in 2019. I met you in probably 2020.
Yeah.
And through COVID, we had Zoom meetings, all of us. That's how
hmm
I got to know you originally. But I have really watched you shift and change. I think your business has changed significantly over time and you've become a breathwork coach. So, can you just talk a little bit about that and how you incorporate that into what you do for people?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, when we met, I started working with Heather in 2020. Actually, I signed my contract with her a week before COVID hit. And I was running my own event management business. I had actually just split with my business partner. And I thought, I already knew, I was like, I don't really want to do this alone. So I'm going to hire my first coach. I felt like so empowered because I was like, this is the first time I get to make a business decision without having to ask somebody else for permission. And so it was
Hmm.
such an empowering feeling. I hired Heather, wanted to vomit a little bit just because of like the investment. And then COVID happened. And in the event industry, I think I lost like 40 grand in 1 week because all my events got canceled.
Hmm.
Everything I was working on, everyone pulled out. And so what that allowed me, after the initial panic was to actually really dive into the work with Heather, the personal development work, the self-awareness, the limits I was putting on myself, all of it. I didn't even realize, I think I joined because I was like, I need help with my business. And then it was
Hmm.
actually, you need help with you,
Hmm.
as it happens. And I remember this one time she was like, we're doing a breath work. And I was like, I don't want to do breath work. I would like you to provide me a strategy for how to grow my business. And she was like, cool, we're doing breath work. And we were all in this breathwork session. It was my first time ever doing it. I was super resistant to it. And then I loved every second of it.
Oh, yes.
I
Mm.
remember, yeah, like I remember my body reacting and me thinking like, why is my body reacting?
Hmm.
I remember getting so deep into the meditative state that that inner voice that has like kept me sidelined for so long started to
Hmm.
quiet.
Hmm.
And I was actually hearing what I now know is my like intuition, my inner voice that was
Hmm.
like, hey, you're not alone. Like, you're good. We got you. I had visions of my grandma who had passed. And actually, the day of this recording is the anniversary of her passing.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Full body goosies right here.
Yeah. And I just remember feeling her hands on my face. And it was like the most amazing, grounding, beautiful, like full body love. Cause like she actually like fully loved me and always showed me love.
Hmm.
And after the breathwork session, I was just like, what the f was that? Like, how did this breathing get me that experience? And so then I just started practicing every day. I think we even had like maybe an accountability group where it was like we would
Yeah.
meet and do this. We didn't necessarily do it together. Everyone was like on Zoom, but like cameras off, on mute. We all just did our own
Yeah.
thing, but it was like accountability to actually
Hmm.
do the practice. And then I just like so much opened up for me from just doing that. And I think someone said to me, like, you would be really good at this. And I was like, yeah, I
Hmm.
actually think I would be. And so I
Hmm.
just like took a leap of faith in myself and got certified through the Pause Breathwork program
Hmm.
and got to do a lot. I think it was like 60 hours of practicum. So I tested and I practiced on people that I knew and just realized that it was such an important part actually of how I was going to run my business and my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I, in 2019, got my first breathwork certification and introduced that concept to Heather in the
Mhm.
group right around then. And, it was new. And then it started getting paired with hypno breathwork,
Yeah.
right? I did my training through XPT, which
Okay.
is an athletic performance group. But it's still, they still have like lots of different styles of breath work that you can do, and it all pulls out different parts of yourself. And but it wasn't paired with hypno breath work. And then we start pairing
Hmm.
it with hypno breath work and bringing people into the community and working with it in different ways. It is life changing stuff that you
Oh
do.
yeah.
So, talk to me about who you have become because of breath work
Mm.
as a mom, as a partner, and as a baseball business owner.
Oh yeah. Okay, so who have I become? Breathwork has become really important tool for me. We're raising teenage boys now.
Hmm.
They're like
They're 13.
they're a whole different
Ugh.
beast.
Hmm.
And it's like I have to stay so regulated because the curveballs he throws at me every single day uh, are just wild. And I do see a lot of me in him. And so that can also be really triggering, right? When you're trying to parent the you out of your kid.
Hmm.
And you're just like, oh, I get it. I get why my parents were so mad at me all the time. Turns out I was really annoying. And I can see that. And so it's really interesting to try and parent this version of you almost
Uh-huh.
and stay regulated, hold the vision of like who you want to be and how you want to show up in your life. Like I never even thought like that. I used to have like my inner critic was so loud, so negative, so hard on me. And I just thought that's who I was. And so now breathwork has really opened up to show me self-awareness, deep self-trust,
Hmm.
to be able to hold my own vision, to be able to hold space for other people. I honestly am not even sure I had time for other people before because I was so constantly stuck in my own head.
Hmm.
And now there's so much space, right? And I think that that's what really shows up when I'm working with clients is my ability to hold space without judgment, without projection, but
Hmm.
to just like I have that capacity now, and that has transformed. I have capacity to sit with my kid when he's having a meltdown. I have capacity to work through things with my wife when we're triggering each other. I have capacity to like lead workshops and
Hmm.
work with my clients and help them because I'm not stuck in my own spiral.
Right, right. And, I would just say, like, from my perspective, watching you transform, I felt like you and I both probably came into working with Heather very similar, really driven women,
Mm,
really sure of ourselves, really just trying to move the needle in life, like in an intense way, like
yeah.
probably a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
Scorpio way. And I've just kind of watched you still be that self, but so much softer. And like that's the regulation piece. And I see
Mm,
that in myself as well, where it's just these inner knowings, this self trust, this it's clearer energy because we've gotten it out of our bodies and it's not stuck there, quite
yeah.
frankly, right? And
Yeah.
that's what breathwork does. So, can you just I just lead the listeners real quickly through what does it look like when we do breathwork together? How does it start? Let's just kind of role play a breathwork session. That we're not going to do a 30-minute
Oh, it's
breathwork
like you
session.
want a breathwork session now, don't
Yeah.
you?
Yes, I do. That would be a really fun audible to like
Yeah, with that.
add it to maybe a future podcast where we
Hmm.
just have a breathwork session with you. But can you just talk about what that is? Because I think a lot of people still don't actually know what breathwork is. It sounds hard. It sounds like a lot of work because there's the word
Hmm.
work in it. It sounds woo-woo, but also it's an odd word, I believe.
Yeah. Well, and I'll also add that I think a lot of people have seen these like ads on Instagram of like hundreds of people in a convention center being guided by this like intense breath work, and they're all thrashing and crying and shouting and like all of this. And I've had a lot of people be like, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, yeah,
Mm-mm.
I don't want to do that either.
No,
I've had a
no.
lot of people come up to me and be like, I did a group breath work and got super triggered.
Oh, I've done breath work for since 2019 pretty regularly, and I
Mhm.
did my first in person here when I moved to Fort Collins because, I'm in a bigger city. I will never probably do that again.
Yeah.
The lady next to me was like primal screaming and having orgasms or something ridiculous. Like, I don't know what was going on with her, but it was really distracting, and I didn't have what I would call a good breath work.
And so a lot of people come to me saying that they've had
Mhm.
experiences like this or have heard of people having experiences like
Mhm.
this. So I think what's important is I'm a trauma-informed breathwork facilitator.
Yes.
That is not a trauma-informed approach. Going into a
No.
big group, doing all of that, I
Hmm.
think it maybe has a time and a place. And my approach, based on, I think, maybe my history, is that I want a safe space where I can be vulnerable and I can be held.
Hmm.
And to know that this is like kind of an intimate experience between us.
Hmm.
I know that for me personally, it is harder for me to be fully vulnerable in a large group, especially if trust hasn't been developed ahead of time. So that's why I prefer to work with people one on one. And so when we're working together, we usually start our session, talk about what's coming up for you right now. Where are you feeling resistance, or where is there something in your life where you're like, okay, I know there's a next level. I want to lean into this, or I want to work through something. And we typically land on a theme for our session.
Hmm.
I I very rarely come into a session like, here's the plan, here's what we're doing, right? It's very much
Right.
co-created. And I think that
It
that's
very
really,
much is.
yeah. And there's been times where you're like, yeah, no, that doesn't feel good. I want to do this,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
that's how we co-create. So then when we start the session, I always invite my clients to get nice and comfortable, which is why I like virtual as well, because you can like climb back into your bed, you can
Hmm.
pop your yoga mat on the ground, get yourself cozy, get your eye mask on, put your earbuds in, and you get to really be comfortable in a space that you're comfortable in,
Right.
right? And I always pair it with music. So I'll build
Really
a
good music, by the way. Like, you are also a DJ, Ashley, I would say. Like, that should be like the side thing because you
a
do a
side
great job
hustle.
of
Yeah.
picking music that goes with, like, on the spot with what goes with
Hmm.
what we are working on.
Yeah, and I do. Like that's where I realized I get to actually be a little bit creative, even though I'd like always told myself a story that I'm not creative, right? Like I'm not artsy, but I realized that when it comes to music and evoking something from people, right? So whether it's through
Devotion.
storytelling, right? That emotion, I do have the ability to like find what's going to be the thing that's like, oh yeah, this. So I'll quickly build a playlist while you're getting yourself comfortable, and the first little bit we drop in, right? I think it's really important that we create that space of getting yourself present in this moment, right? Letting your body land, scanning over your body, building that like, okay, we're supported, we're here. And now
Hmm.
it's just like me and you and your breath. So then I start to cue the breath, and we have a couple of different breath patterns that we typically use, right? Whether it's like in through your nose and out through your mouth, or the triactive, which is a little bit more of an intense breath. And then I just start, yeah, do you want me to do it? We start cueing that breath. And
Mhm.
a lot of people will say, and maybe you can give me feedback on this, is that they're following me and their subconscious is still following, but at a certain point, they've slipped into like meditative state, can't necessarily hear the prompts anymore. Like every now and then they'll catch something, but they're following their breath and having their experience. So if it's moving through resistance, or if we are doing some inner child work, or we are, envisioning the next bold miracle, I can cue that, but you're on your own experience, right?
Right.
And then so we'll work through that. I usually try and like end every breathwork session with some grounding, some deeper breaths, some slower pace, giving your body a chance to once again like land back here and just like enjoy that feeling of like, right,
Right.
calm. And then yeah, we come back and usually chit chat about the experience, the
Mhm.
takeaways, maybe some journal prompts. Yeah.
Right.
And then the
Well, I
integration.
mean, for me, when we do it, I think what's really cool is that we can talk about what breath pattern to do,
Hmm.
and some of them aren't as much work, and some of the more restful ones actually work just as well on me, right?
Yeah.
Because slowing down is really hard for me. Really, really hard. And it's my work to do is to slow down, but I do notice that that's different. Now, you did talk about we go to these other places. The
Hmm.
my first really profound experience with you doing breathwork in a group setting, which
Yep.
I'm in your membership. We do it in a group session, but we're all on Zoom and we're all in our own spaces, right? It doesn't
Yes.
feel like we're in a group other than maybe a collective vibe,
Yeah. A
like
shared
when we enter
energy.
the room
Yeah. Yeah.
and you facilitate, but then we can all turn our cameras off, put our earbuds in, do our own thing. It's just,
Hmm.
more of us in a group. And in those group sessions, they're not as customized as one-on-one work, right? Like
That's
they
right.
move the needle for me. They feel great, but they don't move the needle in my life the way that working with you one-on-one does.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the story I'm going to tell is that I was in one of those group sessions with you. Kristen Swanson was in your group and she invited me to come, I think, or something.
Hmm.
And I came to this group. Or maybe you were teaching in her group and whatever it was. That is the moment two two or three spring breaks ago, three spring breaks ago. It's three now. In
Gosh.
2024 that I knew my marriage was over. I saw it in my visions, in the breath work. I saw my life on a rainbow, sliding down the rainbow into this beautiful abundance, into like this whole life that existed. And it helped me release. I knew for a while that things were really broken. And I kept
Hmm.
thinking I could do more work to fix it. I could do more, even if the other person wasn't going to do more, even if the other person was going to blame me more. I kept thinking I could do more, right? But in that breath work, it released my need for doing more and it showed me a life that I could step into, this rainbow life, this life of abundance that was pure freedom, that I could have everything I ever wanted. I could have maybe a partner someday that was going to meet my needs in all the ways, not breadcrumb me, right?
Hmm.
Like it showed me this. And I woke up from that breath work. You watched me go through that breath work.
I
Kristen
did.
watched me. What was your experience of that breath work for me?
I was like watching you in that session. So as much as it's not customized, when people have their cameras on,
Mhm.
I
Which
can
I'm fine with leaving mine
for
on.
sure. Yeah.
I got nothing to hide from anyone, basically.
When the camera is on, though, I can tap into your energy in a different way.
Mm.
So I noticed that you were crying and moving a bit more through the breath work. And I felt and could see the moment where you had like this like release.
Mhm.
And I was like, "Oh, something happened."
Mhm.
And I had this like intuitive hit. I was like, it's her marriage.
Mhm.
Something's going on. And
Mhm.
so I was like, just keep holding the space and give permission because it was just like permission, permission, permission was like what just kept
I think you
coming.
kept saying that in the background. I don't know that I like
Yeah.
consciously heard it. I'm sure, obviously, like this is why it's hypno breath work,
Hmm.
because there's a little hypnotherapy going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure
And
I heard
yeah.
you say you can release it, and once I did is when I got on that rainbow with like
Yeah.
legitimately the bucket of gold at the end of the rainbow,
Yeah. And I
which
do
is where I'm
remember
sitting
like
now.
yeah, it's wild and like really such a cool experience when I think it's like moments like that actually that really remind me that this isn't just a breath work.
Hmm.
This is transforming people's lives. And I know that there might be people listening to this going, well, I don't want to do breath work and then get divorced. That's not the message.
No,
The message is this allowed you access to what your intuition already knew, but your mind was blocking.
right. And I was in an unsafe marriage also, like emotionally,
Yes.
physically, all the things were not going well, but I was trying to override and stay because I had signed up for this marriage. And another part of that was it was my second marriage, and I didn't want two marriages to fail. I didn't want to be somebody who'd been divorced twice. I wanted a
Let's
family.
just also say marriage ended, not failed.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, but the way I thought about it then was it was failing. It would be
Mm,
a failure, right? That was what I entered breathwork with. That is
yeah.
not how I feel about it now.
Hmm. Yeah.
I feel like it's one of the greatest successes of my life that I walked away from that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
But
that's what breathwork allowed was the quieting of the part of you that was trying to override. So the quieting of survival instinct to listen to intuition.
because it scientifically is actually doing that to our bodies
Hmm.
by the breath patterns, by what happens with what your oxygen and
And just like it does get you into a meditative state, which
Mhm.
allows access to your subconscious.
Mhm.
And right, like 95% of what we're doing every single day is our conscious. Like we're not even using, sorry, 5% of what we're doing every day is our
Yeah.
conscious mind. 95% is our subconscious, but
Mhm.
we don't access it.
Mhm.
Breath work, hypno breath work, hypnotherapy, meditation all allows us to access our subconscious. So if you have survival strategies, you have blocks, you have patterns that are limiting you, are keeping you stuck because it thinks it's keeping you safe, right? Nothing that we're doing is keeping us stuck because it wants us to stay in danger. It is messed up in thinking that it's keeping us safe.
Right.
Right. And so our subconscious, that's where we get to do the reprogramming work. That's where we get to tap into what we truly desire and what we know is for us.
Mhm.
We just have to access it, and we can't access it just talking like this.
We can't,
No.
or we just would, quite frankly.
Well, that's why so many people are like,
Like,
I've done therapy for years, but they'll do breath work with me and life changes.
Oh, yeah. If all, I feel like working with you one-on-one feels very much like therapy when we have our initial, like, here's what's going on.
Hmm.
Here's a little bit of shift to work through. And now let's get it out of your body so that you can. Let's
Yes.
get it out of your subconscious so that you can. Let's move the energy. Like when we all go work out, we feel better after because we move energy,
Yeah. We take
right?
action. Yeah.
We
And
take
it's
action
action.
and it releases dopamine or whatever it
Hmm.
is that it does physiologically to our body. Breathwork physiologically does things to our body as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that we talked about the big leap I took, started in breathwork,
Yeah.
the big knowing, the big honoring that. I felt so much lighter. We were on vacation. We were at spring training in Phoenix watching baseball games. And I remember the next game we went to, I just felt so much more me, so much more alive. Now I knew I was about to face like the hardest journey. I
Hmm.
knew it wouldn't be an easy divorce.
No.
And I gave myself permission to start going down that route. Now, after that, after I like got into a safe-ish space to live a little bit, not sure how long, we started working together one-on-one.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about like what you saw me go through the last 2.5 years since
Yeah.
then? And who, I don't know, like just whatever you want to say, like who I was then, just all the things, and we can dive specifically into some of those things that you helped me to overcome. This
Oh,
being
yeah.
said, like I do have a therapist. I do have a psychic that I see. I do a lot of body work. I see acupuncturists. Like you are not my one and only
Hmm.
one-stop shop, but in many ways I think you could be. I like to surround myself with support. It's
Yeah.
something that I have found to really help propel me in my life. I think a lot of people, that's not the case with them, but you being on my team has changed a
Yeah.
lot. And
And it
we
was
manifested
fun.
some really bold miracles.
It was fun. It was, well, okay, it
It
wasn't
was
all
fun,
fun.
actually.
Like, there were moments too where I was like really, really invested in this growth for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just like knowing the path you had in front of you
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that it was going to be a long road, the support, right? Of like, so the way I typically work with people one-on-one is private container, meeting every other week, but then the constant access in between sessions
Uh-huh.
for those moments of like, here's what's not working, here's what just came up, what should I use, what tool can I rely on? And so that way when our sessions came, it wasn't like an hour of having to catch up of what had just happened for 2 weeks. It was, all right, let's launch into this so
Mm-hmm.
that we can. And I remember early on in the place that you were calling home for that journey, we really kind of used this idea of like that being your cocoon.
Mm-hmm.
And that ended up being like a really cool metaphor to like follow through that journey of like wanting to even stay inside, wanting to
Yeah.
find safety in that space for you and your son. Sometimes the pain, the emotional pain of like going out and this home, this space was a temporary, just like a cocoon is, a temporary space to heal and grow so that you could
Mm-hmm.
grab your wings
Mm-hmm.
and fly.
And transform through it.
Yeah, like that's what
Mm-hmm.
was happening during that phase. And I mean, I haven't actually watched what happens inside of a cocoon, but I don't think it's pretty.
Nasty. No, it's actually
Yeah.
nasty to watch a butterfly, like a caterpillar turn into a butterfly. It is gross and it looks really painful.
And I think at times that's what we were doing. But the nice thing was, or at least what I found a lot of like gratitude in, was that you let me in 100%.
Hmm.
You shared the like, I'm gonna cry. We shared everything, right?
Hmm.
It was the
Heartbreaks.
heartbreaks, the confusion, the how much more rock bottom can this get? And one of the things that I felt really like grateful for was that I knew what your vision was and like told you over and over that you were not holding it alone.
Hmm.
Yeah, cry break.
Yes. Well, I just knew there was like so much life, that rainbow. And I saw that vision clearly, and I started seeing that that meant we would leave
Hmm.
Durango, which had been my home on and off for 29 years, right? Like, I
Yeah,
didn't leave that community lately. And also, it had become really difficult to live there
yeah.
with all the drama, with all the people involved that wanted to be involved in the divorce, with all the judgment, with all the darkness, with all the
Hmm.
safety concerns. It became really challenging to live there, right? And so that's why I
Yeah,
was in the cocoon. But more shit hit the fan while we were working together, right?
yeah.
And like it really truly was there the moment when Dominic had been in the hospital for like 2 weeks. This was
Mm.
appendix, the original appendix stuff. You know, I end up calling it the appendix apocalypse. So I'm going through this divorce. I'm feeling unsafe. I am financially really strapped, living in this space that's like a 10 box. My dad calls it the 10 box house. So it really was kind of a cocoon.
Mm.
My dog gets kidnapped. And I remember saying to you, like, what did I do? Why did I deserve this? I know it's going to get better, but like, how much more do I have to suffer to get through it? And it was sort of maybe like those moments of the cocoon transformation
Hmm.
that were all parts of me dying off and, you know, bad luck happening with a homeless guy walking into my house and stealing my dog
Yeah, it's
and
like
my
you
kid
actually
having his
couldn't
appendix
make this
removed
stuff up.
the next day. Like, I never felt more alone
Hmm.
in my life and more supported at the same time.
Yeah. And I think that's what was like that like hard part for me was like I felt so connected to you and was like there with you. Again, our sons are like basically the same age and yet I was so far away. But it was like as much as I could continue to like show up for you and support you and remind you that like this isn't your fault and yet it is yours to move through.
Right. Right. And what in that moment, I remember just you helping to hold the vision, keep holding the vision that we knew was real. We knew I would move. We didn't know how long it would take. We
Hmm.
knew the divorce would end. We didn't know how long it would take.
Yeah.
We knew my son would eventually get better. We didn't know how many doctors. We didn't know there would be 4 hospitalizations.
Yeah.
We didn't know that the fourth one, I mean, it started in August, and by May, the fourth one, he was in ICU on oxygen support and dying,
Yeah.
right? And that was on Mother's Day. We And meanwhile, I still knew at that point, like we're moving, we're getting out of here. But there was so many like low, hopeless times.
Hmm.
But there was this vision that carried us through that you kept holding with me. And I
Hmm.
kept saying, bold miracles are coming.
Yep.
I'm surrounded by angels.
Yep.
And
And
I
then,
think you saw that in my breathwork sessions.
oh yeah. Yeah. And, I usually do a pretty good job of like not merging with my clients because I feel like, you know, and yet I think we're like connected in a
Hmm.
deeper way.
Hmm.
And I actually felt like now she needs that, right? So that I knew like you would be in these breathwork sessions and we'd be calling on your angels. And I was just like, it was happening. I could see it, I could feel it. And yeah, you'd come out of them and you'd be like, okay, I'm supported. I know it. Like, go, like, the light is going to win. Right? We had lots of
Hmm.
Star Wars and
Oh,
butterflies,
yeah,
Star Wars analogies and butterflies, but it was very much like at the end of the day, without a doubt, light wins over darkness.
for sure. And now here I am on the flip side.
Hmm.
Like I always want to say, my son, I left the marriage. I had to find a new home. I was financially broke, like maxed out credit cards. I ended up selling okay, through all of this, I've manifested like over $1 million.
Yeah, it's wild.
I sold a lot that had been taking years to sell, but obviously there was timing involved in that. So that
Hmm.
that was all mine and not part of the marriage. It just was like this, there's so much divine scheduler involved in what ended up playing out. My son, like I said, was in the hospital 4 times, and from the time we moved here to Fort Collins, he has put on 45 pounds, which he was like 55 pounds when he was at his sickest last May, right?
Yeah.
And he's a 13-year-old. That's really small for a 13-year-old.
Hmm.
And now
Yeah.
he's like one of the bigger kids on the baseball team. It's incredible. And he's just flourished. Like I see how he's flourished since we moved at the end of July. And I know that that's next for my business. Because
Yeah.
again, we're still holding the vision, right? Like it hasn't all happened and it's all happening.
It
And it all
happened
happened.
in priority order.
It did. It did. And
Yeah.
it has, right?
Yeah.
And in this like divine scheduler way where
Hmm.
things are falling into place. But a big part of getting through that was breath work with you. And so I will forever be grateful.
Mm.
So
And
thank
I'm
you.
so grateful
Mhm.
because, yeah, it was just a beautiful journey to be on. And I remember the day that you were moving and like packing up the truck and having the long drive. And there was like still things. And I've never, ever, ever met anyone who was just like, nah, we drive forward.
Keep going.
We drive forward with such conviction and like steadfast belief of like, nope, we drive forward.
Yeah, I mean, and we had to stop the moving van that first day. So right before moving, of course, night before, lost the keys to the moving van. Locked them in the back of the moving van. Had to
Yep.
call a locksmith the morning of, right, to get it back. And I was like, I'm pretty sure the keys are in the back. Did I know that? No, but I was pretty sure that's where they last were seen. I always put keys in the exact same place. Like I'm not a key loser. That's not something I replicate in my life. So lost those the night before. Call a locksmith who was 1 minute away from the house. When I called, he says, actually, I'll pull into your place. Pulls in. Otherwise, he was headed out on a job that would have taken hours to finish. Pulls in. We end up leaving that day just as planned, but then a storm rolled in, right?
Mhm.
And then my girlfriend that was driving with me was like, it'd really be best. Like, you hardly slept at all in the last week and a half while you're packing. And we get like the moving van might blow over. The winds are so strong. So we stayed in a hotel and I was just like, no, I
You're
just
like,
want
no,
to
today
get
is the
there.
day.
I'll drive all night to go move to this new world and this new life.
Yeah.
And here we are. We are like 9 months into this new life, and I'm still working through a lot.
Hmm.
And also, we manifested some really bold miracles. We wrote down exactly what I wanted my home to be like. I ended up, there's a podcast on this. I wrote a letter to this house and what I wanted it to be like.
Yeah.
This house holds so much love, so much peace. It is a safe haven for so many people, for my neighbors, for the little neighbors that live next to me. I've got a 6 month old, a 2 year old, a 5 year old. I've got chickens next to me. I manifested things that weren't exactly on the list, but were on the vision board that I didn't understand. Like the lakes next to my house were on the
Yeah.
vision board. I didn't even know there were lakes in Fort Collins. So it's really been incredible to keep moving through it. Yet, now there are even bigger miracles coming.
Oh, yeah. And now I think that's where, you know, I see that with your ability to manifest. And anytime you're like, "Ooh, I think this," I'm like, "Yeah, I believe it." Right? Because,
Hmm.
and I just want to say to like people who are like, manifesting doesn't work. I mean, it does if you believe in it,
Yeah,
right?
just
But
like
that's like
anything.
anything. Your brain will find proof. And so if you and when you believe and hold that belief and search for the belief, find evidence and proof for the belief, it will show itself to you.
It will.
And I do think that part of that is being regulated, is having a nervous system that is open and attuned to your intuition, that
Hmm.
gives you space to quiet the inner chatter so
Hmm.
that you can continue to focus on what you want your brain to focus on, right? The new home, the, ease in the business, the abundance, the deeper connection in a relationship, whatever it is that you want, you know, it's there for you. The challenge is that so many people are only focused on the negative, what they don't have, how hard it is.
Hmm.
And then their brain is like, oh, they keep thinking about this. This must be what they want to see. And so for so many people out there who are like, okay, must be nice, it comes with practice and
Right.
telling your brain, this is what I want, and I believe that I get to have it.
Hmm.
And holding that vision. And if you can't hold it on your own, find somebody else who can hold the vision with you.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there's this. I did a hypnotherapy in 2020 right before I met you, and that changed my ability to see that I was enough. Now,
Mm,
I have self-confidence, but my enoughness wound was there, right? And so we really worked through that. Now, I had to keep doing that work. I got married, I had gotten another divorce, and a part of that was self-worth stuff. I kept thinking my self-worth was tied to doing more
mm,
instead of receiving more. And that had to shift, right? And you helped me shift that. But another thing that came up that I think helped with the manifesting and helped navigating all of that hard was you directly called me out on self trust and
yeah,
related to Dominic's health. You got really kind of straight lined with me about that. I think
I do
it
that sometimes.
Yeah, yes, you do. And I love that. It's why we have coaches, people.
Yeah.
They're supposed to call us out. I think about this a lot with youth sports. We could go down a whole rabbit hole with
Hmm.
that. Our coach, our baseball coach, had a little bit of a tough coaching weekend, I would say, last weekend. And the parents were being really harsh behind the scenes. And I was like, wait, wait, he's human. Could we give him some grace? Sure enough, he got sick the next day. Yeah, he was being human.
Hmm.
So. But I love coaches that call us out and call our children because I believe we can't be surrounded by that. And also, that's in my human design chart, by the way, to really lean into stuff like being
Yeah.
called out and surrounding myself with support, all the things, right? But my point, a little bit in a roundabout way, is that you called me out on my self-trust worthiness wound, I would say. Like you are like, you keep going and asking other people, but you know what is going on. What is going on with your child? You need to get still with it. I got still with it. And I
Mhm.
think that's when I put him on antidepressants.
Yeah.
Originally, the first time that came up with you was when he was needing his appendix out, and I kept fighting the battle. Like I knew it was his appendix. I knew with all that it was. And it's really challenging when you have professionals, doctors and surgeons telling you you're wrong,
Yeah.
that they went to medical school and you're wrong. And I was like, well, 9 images state that it is appendicitis. Are you telling me it's really in my child's brain, right? So, this self trust piece that we worked on together, do you see that often when you work with people?
Oh, yeah. I think that as women specifically, we are raised to not trust ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
right? We are raised to ask other people's opinions and wrath. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure that's what you want to do? Right? We are constantly questioned. And especially if you are raised as a people pleaser,
Mm-hmm.
you learn to override your intuition to make other people happy.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn to quiet yourself to serve others. And I think that that's actually, I see that so much in a lot of women. It's like why they're so dysregulated, why they're carrying so much stress, why they have actually taken on all of the mental load. Like, even when they have a fully functioning other human who lives with them,
Mm-hmm.
aka maybe a husband, that's why they do because they've been trained to serve and not listen to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I actually find it can be really challenging to have women invest in themselves because they're like, I don't know, I'm probably not going to actually do the work. They don't even trust themselves to do the work that they know they want to do.
Oh my goodness. That makes me
Right?
mad.
It makes me mad. Listen, I was receiving holistic care. I'm not going to like name the person the other day. And she was talking all about how she had to convince her husband to help drive their daughter to her recital. Now, this woman runs her own business. He
Right.
works for somebody, and she had to really make him feel very special for like pitching in and helping. And I
I
think my
experienced
response
that in one of
was,
my marriages.
I was like, ew. And then I was like, oh, sorry. That was my inside voice coming outside.
It's true though. I
I was like,
mean,
why? Why are you doing that? Because she doesn't trust herself. She doesn't value her worth.
mm-hmm.
And that's the work. It's very rare for me to work with women like you who are just like, now I know it, I'm going for it. Just like pace me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Pace me, hold pace with me, remind me of like what I said I want. A lot of the times I'm working with people who are like very new, and I believe that it is a great place to start, but if they're very new to even using their voice to say, I need help. Can you support me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared. How do I ask so and so to participate? And I think a big part of what I actually do is help people build self-trust,
Hmm.
realize that they are worthy of everything they desire,
Great.
and they don't have to tiptoe around what they want.
Plus, like breathwork just makes you feel better in general in life.
For
Like,
sure.
regardless of all the, like, all of this still sounds sometimes like work and like, oh, I don't want to deal with my self-worth and my self-trust. And I get that. But
Yeah,
even if you don't want to face any of those things, you feel better and you have more energy when you do breath work and you sleep better,
absolutely.
period.
Yeah. And you realize that you're actually like coming at life from a place of being able to respond to it instead of just reacting to it,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Being able to take that like quick breath or a pause and be like, all right, my kid seems to be acting all weird today.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
not going to take his bait.
Hmm.
I'm gonna stay over here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the coach in the drama triangle or in the
Hmm.
empowerment dynamic instead of,
Yeah,
you know,
I
being
have
in
to
the,
save him.
yeah, saving him.
Yeah.
Okay, well, as we start to wrap up, I want to
Hmm.
talk about at least one more thing, and you might have something else on your mind as well, but you are going to start coming into my Oxygen First Club, and we are
Hmm.
going to start offering to anyone who wants to sign up that they can come to the Wealth Abundance Breathwork,
Yeah.
right? And so we are going to do a little bit of breath work, and then we're all going to dive into wealth building, whether that's like just monthly paying your credit cards or checking your bank statement or whatever you need to work on for wealth, putting money in retirement, blah, 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 blah. We're going to start doing that in the Oxygen First Club, and you are going to facilitate it. And I
I
am
know.
so excited.
I'm so excited too because I think that this is something I'm seeing come up a lot right now with women is just this like fear and lack mindset. And I know that, wow, like we're all going to be so much more powerful and confident and in control when we feel confident to look at our numbers and to actually
Yeah.
say, I want to build this.
Yeah. And
And
just
it's
play with
mine to
it.
build. Yeah. And like have fun with
Like,
it.
as a CPA, I have my own money stuff. I have my own, like, it's got to be perfectness, right? It's got to, whatever. But there are ways we can build wealth together and we can come up with ideas. And if we do a little bit of breath work first, it takes away the anxiety and the
Hmm.
fear around money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Let's
it,
get you regulated,
mhm,
take you from like way up here into stress zone down
mhm,
here. And then all of a sudden you're going to be
the
like, oh,
into the rainbow zone.
into the rainbow zone where the pot of gold is.
Mhm,
And you're all of a sudden going to be like, oh, it's actually a pretty simple solution. Or, oh, yeah, I could have a money date. Or,
mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
I can pay the minimum balance. And that's enough.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be really fun
Hmm.
and we'll just see where it goes. So I'm really excited to have you do that. And one more thing, I think you've been doing something, a vision I saw for you
Yeah.
with baseball kids and their parents and breath work. And I see this as your future. I still do.
I
I
love that you're
still
manifesting for me.
I mean, I see you as the Toronto Blue Jays breathwork coach
I
that
would love
comes
that.
in and works with them. I see you as the person who leads sports fans through devastating losses
Okay, listen, Dot.
to believe in winning again, but believing in
I
bold
know.
miracles again. Like,
Yeah.
because I actually do think that vibrationally, when we all get low,
Hmm.
we do something like breath work. Like in the Bible, we always talk about like come together in groups and you can manifest miracles. And that is because everyone in the same space believes,
Right. Yeah.
right? And I do think that breathwork can change losses to wins in the future for you guys.
I think so. And that's like, Yeah, so I led a mental fitness session for my son's baseball organization, and I loved every second of it. And I was like, it was a breadcrumb, right? It was like one of these things where I was like, ooh, should I follow this? And then one night when I was like picking him up from practice, I just asked, I was like, hey, would you guys be interested in this? And they were like, yeah, would you be willing to do that? And I was like, yeah, let me build this.
Hmm.
And they sent it out to the whole organization. We had 61 kids show up to this call to learn how breath work, visualization, understanding your body, like nerves versus excitement, leveraging your brain's filter, right? Manifesting can all improve your performance. And it was really cool. And I think the highlight for me, though, was at the end when my son was like, oh my God, Mom, that was so cool. How did you do that? And he was like genuinely proud of me. And just for him to see me lead that and help like his baseball organization get better. Yeah, it was a really cool moment. It was a really cool
It's
moment.
amazing. And
Yeah.
I just keep seeing you do this with little league baseball organizations
Yeah.
across the globe, right? Where you come
Yeah.
in and help these kids. Like we're investing a lot in youth sports. And I will always be a believer that I am not investing in my son becoming a Major League Baseball player. Now, will I be like the world's biggest super mom fan if my son makes it to the MLB? You better believe it. But I believe I am raising a good man who will go
Hmm.
out in this world and be able to be kind and loving and impactful. And
Yeah.
giving these kids tools that they can use during baseball, but during their business careers and with their wives and with their own children and when they coach baseball and all the things is what's important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not just about the win, it's about the
Mm-mm,
lasting impact. And I think
mm-mm,
that's what felt so cool is like even if they take one of these, even when I see one kid step on the mound and take a deep breath before throwing that pitch, it's
mm-hmm.
gonna be like, there we go.
It's a win.
We did it. So
It's a
yeah.
win.
So yeah, if your sports team needs a little mental
Yeah.
fitness, reach on out.
I will chat with our coach about that, but
Yeah.
I hope anyone else who's listening will think of creative ways to help
Hmm.
incorporate breath work and these types of things into their children's lives because they are little sponges and it makes me sad that where they're getting most of their information is off of, YouTube shorts and
Oh
TikTok.
gosh. Yeah,
And we, as their parents, can change that through giving them practices like this. But I do believe it starts with us doing practices like this. Like, if
for
you
sure.
hadn't started this business, if you hadn't changed lives, there's no way you would have been brave enough to go speak up and ask that
Hmm.
coach or that organization leader to offer this, right?
Yeah.
So, you put on your oxygen mask first, you did it first. And that's kind of the message behind all of this. But
Yeah.
breath work is oxygen first.
Literally.
Like, I actually think it does something with the what is the other compound?
CO2.
I think is it the CO2 instead of the oxygen? Like it increases CO2. I don't
No,
actually
it
remember.
actually over oxygenates your bloodstream.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There we
Well,
go.
it's a
It's on
beautiful
brand.
thing that it does.
Yeah.
It is on brand that we are now offering breathwork with
Breathwork.
Oxygen
Oxygen first.
Club wealth building. So I'm so
Yeah.
happy to know you. One of these days I'll squeeze you
I
tightly
know.
and pretty sure it'll be at a baseball game.
Let's make that happen.
Let's do, or let's meet up in Mexico. I mean,
Yeah,
once
that's also
Americans
good.
can travel again, but
Yeah.
I
Let's,
don't know about we can manifest some bold miracles for that too.
yeah, I'll meet you at the border.
It's so funny. Okay, well, it's always lovely to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so take a deep breath with me for a second because this one lands in your body, doesn't it? Here are a few things I want you to walk away with from today's conversation. Number one, your breath is not just automatic, it's access. Access to your subconscious, access to your intuition, and access to the version of you that already knows. Number two, you are not stuck. You are really protected. Those patterns, those loops, those I can't seem to move forward feelings, they're not failures. They're your system trying to keep you safe. It does it to all of us. Number three, you don't need more strategy. You need more space. Space to hear yourself, space to feel, space to regulate, so you can actually choose instead of react. And number four, this is the big one. You cannot think your way into the life you want. At some point, you have to feel your way there. And that's what breathwork gives you. It like clears this junk out of your body so that you know what the answer is. It's such a cool energetic shift. It's so similar to working out, but I would say about 50 times more powerful than a workout is for that shift, for those answers to just flow in and drop in on me. As you know, as we shared in this episode, it happens to me often, big and small moments. So if you're listening to this and thinking, okay, this sounds amazing, but I don't even know where to start, start simple. I encourage you to go try one of Ashlee's pre recorded guided breathwork sessions. Not someday, not when life slows down. Today. Go do it today. You have 10 to 20 minutes to spare. Put in your earbuds, lay down, and give yourself 10 to 20 minutes. It's a beautiful gift. And just breathe. No pressure to have some big breakthrough, no pressure to do it right. It just actually feels really darn good to do breath work. Like it is a really cool feeling in your body, very orgasmic. Just get curious about what happens in your body because the magic of this work isn't understanding it. It's actually just experiencing it, right? So you don't understand what it's like to be a parent before you actually become one. You don't understand what it's like to decide between breast milk and formula until you are wearing those boots. And I would just encourage you to do the same thing with breath work. Experience it. So here is your oxygen first prompt. Take this with you on either a walk, in your car, or in a quiet moment tonight. You can ask yourself, what do I already know that I haven't given myself permission to hear? Now, you can also do this in breath work. You can ask yourself this question while you do breath work. And then just breathe. After you ask yourself the question, just breathe and listen. No fixing, no forcing, no overthinking. Just notice what comes up because your next step, your truth, your rainbow moment like mine, it's already inside of you. I just did breath work with Ashlee this last week, a little session. And you know what came to me? My next move in my business is actually to go buy an e-bike. Just go shopping for an e-bike. Go ride an e-bike. That's what's calling my soul. So I'm listening. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but I can guarantee with the way that I manifest money, the way I manifest clients, the way I manifest shifts in my business, it's always aligned with listening to those desires. And a lot of those ahas come to me in breathwork. So if this episode spoke to you, if you felt something shift, I would love for you to share this episode with a friend. Send it to a friend, take a screenshot, tag me, and tell me what landed for you. Because you guys downloading this and sharing it with other people is what moves the needle on these podcasts for me. and help spread the word about these amazing things like breathwork. And if you do want to try one of Ashley's sessions, I really want to hear your experience. Please reach out to me. She's magic and you'll love her. Because this work, this is how we start moving things out of our bodies so we can finally move toward the lives we desire. So we can finally move forward. I promise you, support like this, it isn't a cost. It'll give you all the return on investment you could ever ask for because it's oxygen to your soul, to your body, to everything. I'll see you next time. And until then, go check out Ashlee. She's got a really cool new Regulate program, 6 weeks, and she'll change your life. I promise. See you next time. This conversation reminded you that you don't have to do it all alone. That's your cue. Go download the free Support and Breathe Return on Investment Calculator at rockconsulting.com. It's a quick, slightly eye-opening way to see how much time, money, and energy you could reclaim with the right support. And remember, support does not always mean hiring. Sometimes it's a simple ask. Sometimes it's a boundary. And sometimes it's finally letting someone be your peanut butter. If something in this episode resonated, please come tell me. I'm on Instagram at @dot_rock_, and I genuinely love hearing what lands for you so I can create more of them. And remember, your energy is your greatest asset. Protect it, invest in it, and always put on your oxygen mask first. I'll see you next week.